Sadie and Rosie. Rosie was lying on her bed, scribbling something in her notebook, lost in her thoughts. Suddenly, she heard a notification sound from her phone. It was a message from Sadie. "Hey, what's up? I'll be there in 2 minutes." 2 minutes? Rosie's eyes widened. She was a bit annoyed that Sadie hadn't given her a heads up and was coming over so soon. She felt ugly, especially now. Her hair was messy, there was no makeup on her face, and she looked like she'd been awake for hours. Trying to get ready in such a short time seemed impossible. Besides, if Sadie saw her like this, she'd definitely find something to criticize. She was sure Sadie would say something. Panicking, Rosie jumped out of bed. She rushed to the bathroom, washed her face, and applied some cream, telling herself, "Just do something, fix yourself somehow." She was about to try fixing her hair when she heard the doorbell. It was too late now. She didn't have time. With messy hair and an old t-shirt, there was no other choice but to open the door. Reluctantly, Rosie took a deep breath and went to the door. When she opened it, there stood Sadie, with her black hair flowing in the wind and wearing a chic, elegant dress that made her look like a movie star. Rosie's face involuntarily scrunched up. She felt even worse in that moment. Sadie tilted her head and looked at Rosie with a smirk. "Well, aren't you going to invite me in?" she said. Rosie, still surprised, opened the door wider and let Sadie in. They went up to Rosie's room. Sadie didn't say anything about Rosie's appearance, which was surprising. Rosie turned to her and said, "You're always so beautiful, and look at me." Sadie smiled and said, "Yeah, I'm always beautiful, but so are you." Rosie felt relieved hearing that. It felt nice that Sadie didn't judge her appearance. Maybe Sadie wasn't as superficial as she thought. Rosie didn't feel any particular closeness towards Sadie. She was just a regular friend to her, and in fact, Rosie thought Sadie was kind of cruel and bossy. They were in the same class, and rather than opposing her, Rosie had chosen to stand by her side. But today, Sadie hadn't commented on her looks, and that made Rosie think. Why was Sadie acting this way? Maybe there was more to her than just the tough exterior. With those thoughts in mind, Rosie decided she wanted to get to know Sadie better. They moved to the kitchen where Rosie made coffee. Sadie looked around the kitchen and said, "I'm glad you have coffee." As Rosie made the coffee, they talked about school, teachers, and friends. They laughed and gossiped a bit. They kept chatting until their coffee cups were empty. Sadie said, "There's so much happening at school, it's always fun to talk with you." Rosie paused for a moment and thought, "Yeah, maybe Sadie isn't as bad as I thought." People, no matter how cold or superficial they seem, might have other stories inside them. After a bit more chatting, Sadie stood up and said, "See you, Rosie," and headed for the door. As Rosie opened the door for her, she thought again. Maybe Sadie wasn't as harsh as she seemed. Maybe this friendship could turn into something different over time.